Section 1. The Big Chill. We begin with a preview of a dramatic and impactful shift in our weather, one that will define the weeks ahead for tens of millions of people. After a period of relatively tranquil and mild autumn weather, a significant and fundamental shift in our continental weather pattern is now unfolding. This isn't a subtle change, it's a complete atmospheric reorganization. And it's one that will have millions reaching for jackets, sweaters, and maybe even their heaviest winter coats a bit earlier than expected. The mild days are numbered, and a firm reminder that winter is marching closer is knocking at our door. The culprit? A major Arctic outbreak is poised to spill southward from its source region. A large reservoir of some of the coldest air on the planet is being dislodged, set to travel thousands of miles south and fundamentally shape our day-to-day weather. This will usher in a prolonged stretch of colder-than-average temperatures. This isn't just a fleeting dip for a day or two. The data suggests several weeks of persistent, deep-seated chill. We're about to trade sunglasses for scarves. To understand why this is happening, we need to look high into the atmosphere at the powerful forces at play. Section 2. The atmospheric setup. Our weather is largely dictated by the jet stream, a high-speed river of air circling the globe. Typically, when it flows in a relatively straight line from west to east, it acts as a barrier, keeping the mild air to the south and the frigid Arctic air locked up to the north. But that is about to change dramatically. The jet stream is forecast to become highly amplified, developing a deep trough, or a dip, over the central and eastern United States. This trough acts like an open door, creating a direct pathway for cold air to pour south. The source of this cold is the infamous polar vortex. Now, it's important to clarify what this is. The polar vortex is not a storm that hits the ground. It's a large-scale circulation of intensely cold air that typically remains contained in the polar regions during winter. However, sometimes this vortex can be disrupted or weakened. When that happens, it can stretch and wobble, dislodging pieces of its frigid core. That is precisely what our long-range models are showing. A lobe of the polar vortex is projected to break away and plunge directly into North America. A final, crucial piece of this puzzle is the development of what meteorologists call a blocking high. A powerful and stubborn area of high pressure is expected to anchor itself near Greenland. This block acts like a dam in the atmospheric river, preventing the cold air from moving east and instead forcing it on a direct southward trajectory into the United States. What gives us high confidence in this forecast is the remarkable agreement across all major long-range weather models. From the American GFS to the European ECMWF, they all paint a similar picture: a deep, persistent, and widespread cold air outbreak. The questions now shift from if it will happen to how cold and where. Section 3. Regional impacts. Let's break down what this means for you. The first region to feel the chill will be the northern plains and the Midwest. This area will be ground zero for the initial plunge of Arctic air. We're expecting temperatures to plummet, potentially falling 20 to 30 degrees below normal. Cities like Minneapolis, Chicago, and Des Moines will go from crisp autumn to deep winter in a matter of 48 hours. Blustery northwest winds will make it feel even colder, with wind chills likely dropping into the single digits or even below zero, especially during the overnight hours. Next, the cold dome expands eastward, engulfing the Northeast and New England. From Buffalo to Boston, and down to New York City and Philadelphia, the sharp drop in temperature will be unmistakable. While the core of the most extreme cold may moderate slightly as it moves east, temperatures will still be a solid 15 to 20 degrees below average for this time of year. The clash of this cold air with the relatively warmer waters of the Atlantic could fuel coastal storms and enhance the biting winds. Even the South will not be spared. While you won't see Arctic conditions, the chill will be significant. The cold front will sweep through cities like Atlanta, Nashville, and even parts of the Gulf Coast. High temperatures that were in the 60s or 70s could struggle to get out of the 40s. Widespread frost and freeze warnings are highly likely, extending deep into the southern states, posing a threat to any remaining sensitive vegetation. This will be a genuine shock to the system for a region accustomed to milder weather. Section 4. The timeline. Let's map out the progression of this event. During week 1, the pattern change begins. The initial cold front will blast across the Rockies and into the plains. This will be the period of most rapid temperature drops. Confidence is high for this initial phase. By the end of the week, the core of the cold will be centered over the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, with the chill spreading to the East Coast. In week 2, the cold becomes entrenched. This is the period of persistence. Instead of a quick rebound, the atmospheric blocking pattern is expected to hold firm, allowing for reinforcements of cold air to arrive from Canada. Temperatures will remain consistently below average for the entire week across the eastern two-thirds of the nation. Our confidence remains moderately high that this cold pattern will persist, though the exact day-to-day temperature specifics will become clearer. Looking ahead to week 3 and beyond, uncertainty naturally increases. Most models suggest a gradual moderation of the cold, but the overall pattern may favor a colder-than-average regime for the remainder of the month. We will be watching for signs of the atmospheric block breaking down, which would allow the jet stream to retreat north and temperatures to return closer to normal. For now, plan for a long-duration cold event. Section 5. Potential hazards. This pattern isn't just about the cold, it brings a variety of weather hazards. First, for those downwind of the Great Lakes, this is a classic setup for significant lake-effect snow. As the frigid Arctic air flows over the still unfrozen and relatively warm lake waters, it will generate immense amounts of moisture, leading to intense, localized bands of heavy snow. Areas in the traditional snow belts from Michigan to New York could see the season's first major snowfall. We'll also be watching for the potential for snow squalls and clipper systems. These are fast-moving disturbances that ride along the jet stream, capable of producing brief but intense bursts of snow, strong winds, and rapidly changing visibility, creating hazardous travel conditions. Furthermore, along the southern edge of the cold air, where temperatures hover near the freezing mark, there will be a risk of freezing rain and icing, which can lead to dangerous roads and power outages. Section 6. Planning and preparation. So, how do you prepare? Understanding this forecast is crucial for everyone. First, clothing. It's time to find your winter gear. Dressing in layers is key. A base layer to wick moisture, a middle layer like fleece for insulation, and an outer layer to block wind and moisture. Don't forget hats, gloves, and warm socks, as extremities are most vulnerable to the cold. For your home, take steps to prevent pipes from freezing. Ensure outdoor faucets are drained and covered. Check that your heating system is in good working order. Sealing drafts around windows and doors can make a significant difference in both comfort and your heating bill. It's also wise to have an emergency kit ready, with blankets, flashlights, and extra batteries in case of a power outage. For agriculture, this first widespread freeze signals the definitive end of the growing season for many. Farmers will need to complete any remaining harvesting of sensitive crops. For commuters, plan for potentially slick roads and allow extra travel time. Keep a winter emergency kit in your vehicle and ensure your tires and fluid levels are appropriate for cold weather. Finally, Section 7. What we're watching. As we close, it's important to touch on the uncertainties. While the overall cold pattern is a near lock, the exact temperatures day to day and the precise location and intensity of any snowfall will be refined as we get closer. We are closely monitoring the evolution of the upper-level blocking pattern and the behavior of the polar vortex. Any change in the strength or position of these features will have downstream effects on your local forecast. This is a dynamic and evolving weather story. Stay tuned for updates as we track every aspect of this impending big chill.